All right. Let's look at this example again. Okay, share with me your answer. So what is the last date to apply for registration? You can write your answer in the chat section. What is the last date to apply for registration? (28 or 29 February? Okay, yeah, it should be 29 February because this year February is up to 29. So it should be 29 February 2020. Okay, so effective date of registration? What is the effective date of registration? Yep. Others? What's your answer? Yeah, it's the first day of the following month, so it should be 1st of March. 1st of March 2020. Okay. So, what is the taxable period? The first taxable period would be? Next item here. So what would be the first taxable period? Others? Because the effective date of registration is 1st of March, so the first taxable period should start at 1st of March lah. You cannot have your taxable period before your registration. Yep, 1st of March until, because this one ends, financial year ends is even month. Okay, so 1st March 2020 until 30th April 2020. Yep. You cannot have in January and February because your effective date of registration is March. I accidentally deleted that. Okay, and last part there, last date to submit SST02. Okay. Okay, 31st May 2020. Okay, very good. Okay, let's move on to the next one. I think we don't have much left. Okay. Oops. All right. Next on payment of tax, the amount of sales or service tax due and payable shall be paid not later than the last day on which he is required to furnish the sales tax return. Not later than the last day on which he is required to furnish the sales tax return, which means that by right it should be paid together with the. So based on our example just now, what is the last date to pay?
31st May.
31st May, yeah, the same date as the date to submit the sales tax or service tax, yeah. Yeah, I will give you the updated one. I made a few corrections just now. Service tax return. Okay. Okay. Penalty for late payment if no prosecution. Okay. Basically, penalty for late payment is depends on whether there is prosecution or not. If there is prosecution, it means that we bring the matter to court. It could be fine and imprisonment or both. Okay, so but I'm not going there. That is for more serious cases. If there is no prosecution, that means it's just between the taxpayer and the customs. Okay, so the penalty will be 10% of unpaid amount after the last date of the first 30 days period. And then 50% of unpaid amount after the last date of the second 30 days period. And 15% of unpaid amount after the last date of the third 30 days period. Okay, so it stopped up to there. So in total, if you don't pay at all, you will be penalized for 40% in total. Okay, you are given like 90 days to make payment. Okay, so this is an example which I take from the general guide for sales tax, service tax. This one is service tax, but the example actually is the same. They just change the title here. Okay, so for a taxable period of September and October 2018, okay, so basically the tax return form need to be submitted 1 month after, right? So it should be, the tax return form should be submitted by 30th November, correct? Okay, so payment should have been made by 30th November, but then they said here 10% of unpaid amount after the last date of the first 30 days period. So from 30th November, they give another 30 days, okay, to pay. So up to 31st December, there will be no penalty. Okay. So the first 30 days period here is calculated from 1st of January. Okay. So from 1st of January, to make things easy, we just take at the end of the month. Okay. From 1st of January, so the first 30 days, You don't pay, so there will be a example here. Tax due is 10,000 and then you paid 5,000. So unpaid amount is 5,000. So penalty is 10% of the unpaid amount. So 10% of 5,000. So the penalty due is 500 ringgit. Okay. So now you have paid 5,000, but you still have unpaid of 5,000. So you are given another 30 days. So within that 30 days, you still do not pay. Okay, so by the end of February, there is still 5,000. I don't know. There is 5,000 due from here, but then you paid 3,000. So by the end of February, there is 2,000 due. So the 15% is of the unpaid amount, not from the original amount, from the unpaid amount. So 15% of 2,000 is 300 ringgit. Okay, so up to 2,000, then you are given another 30 days. Say from the 2,000, you paid 1,000 only, so there is still 1,000 unpaid. So another penalty, 15% of the unpaid amount, so 15% of 1,000. So penalty due is 150. Okay, so that is how the penalty is calculated. So if after that you still don't pay, there will be no more penalty from this type of penalty, but there will be other type of penalty, right? Okay, so that is how the penalty is calculated. Okay, next is accounting for sales tax and service tax. Okay, for this one, there's different approach for sales tax and service tax. So sales tax is payable to RMCD on accrual basis. Okay, so when and on accrual basis, which means that when invoice is issued, because when you issue invoice, you don't collect the money immediately, right? Especially for sales tax, sometimes you give your customer 2 months credit, 3 months credit. So when you issue invoice, you don't get the money yet. Okay, but because it is payable on accrual basis, sales tax must be accounted for at the time when goods are sold, disposed, or first used, even though payment has not been received from customers. Okay, so goods are sold, usually you will issue invoice. So when you issue invoice, you have to pay for the sales tax. Okay, you have to submit the money to customs, although you have not received the payment yet. Okay. But service tax is payable to RMCD on cash basis. Cash basis means it is accounted for when payment is received from customers. Okay, so when you issue invoice, you have not received the money yet, you don't have to pay yet. You have to wait until you receive the cash, then only payment is made to the customs, RMCD. If no payment is received after 12 months from the date of invoice, the amount would be deemed received and accounted accordingly. Okay, if you have not received any payment until 12 months from the date of invoice, then only the amount still have to be accounted for to RMCD. Okay, so that means you have to use your own money first. Unless it becomes bad debt. Okay, so bad debt is another story. But if it's still active in your account, you have not received the money, you have to account for service tax. That means you have to, when you submit your SST02, you have to include that in the form, in your submission. Okay. Next is on invoice. Okay, invoice must be issued to purchasers or customers. It's a must because invoice is basically the evidence that, the most important evidence used to show that how much sales tax and service tax has been imposed to your purchasers or customers. Okay, so invoices must be in the national language or English language. Okay, this is specifically mentioned in the Act. So it must be either in Malay or in English only. Can be issued in hard copy or electronically. Okay, so those who are using a constant system, it's normal for them to print out, and sometimes the invoice is just emailed to customer. Okay, that is also acceptable. Okay, the Act specifies what are the items that need to be shown on the invoice. Okay, so this is basically one of the practice that is adapted from GST. So the invoice itself must show the invoice serial number, the date of the invoice. That is very important because that determines the taxable period and determines when you have to submit your return form. Okay, the name the name, address, and identification number of the registered manufacturer. That means you as the seller, you need to state, it must be shown on the invoice, what is your name, what is your address, and the identification number. This is the, basically when you register with customs, you will get this identification number. Okay, so this number will be used by the purchaser to check whether you are really a registered manufacturer or not. Okay, so that must be shown on the invoice. So continue here, the name and address of the person to whom the taxable goods is sold. So the name of the buyer must also be shown on the invoice. Sufficient description of the taxable goods sold. Any discount offered. Okay, for each description, distinguish the type of taxable goods, quantity of the taxable goods, and the amount payable excluding sales tax. Okay, so before, first you have to show first how much is the amount before you add the sales tax. Then the total amount payable excluding sales tax, the rate of sales tax, and the total sales tax chargeable shown as a separate amount. Okay, so for example, you have item A, item B, item C, item D. You add everything, get the total, and then you add the sales tax amount. Okay, so for example, sales tax is 10%, so 10% of the total just now. And then the total amount payable inclusive of the total of sales tax chargeable. Okay, so you have total before sales tax, and then you plus with sales tax for you to get the total after sales tax. Yeah. And any amount expressed in a currency other than ringgit shall also be expressed in ringgit at the selling rate of exchange prevailing in Malaysia at the time of the sale of the taxable goods. Okay, so if the currency used is not Malaysian ringgit, you still have to convert it to Malaysian ringgit inside the invoice. Okay. For service tax, invoice must contain invoice serial number, date of invoice, name, address, and identification number of the registered person. Okay, same as before, this is very important for your customer to check whether you are really registered or not. A description sufficient to identify the taxable services are provided. Any discount offered, the total amount payable excluding service tax, the rate of service tax, and the total service tax chargeable shown as a separate amount. Okay, I think if you've been to fast food, you should have received this kind of invoice where you can see how much is the service tax. Okay, because when you go fast food is one of is inside food and beverage. Okay, so you can see that on the printed invoice, you can see how much is the price for each item, and then they will total up before they add the service tax. Service charge is different. You know, right? You know that, right? Service tax is different from service charge, which you get charged when you purchase at fast food like McDonald's and KFC. Okay, and this service tax will not be imposed on the service charge. Okay, it will be imposed on the price of the food and beverage only. Okay, okay, exclude service tax, and then rate of service tax and total service tax chargeable, and then the total amount payable inclusive of total chargeable after you add excluding service tax plus service tax. What is the total? And then this amount, any amount referred to in a currency other than ringgit shall also be expressed in ringgit at the selling rate of exchange prevailing in Malaysia at the time of the taxable services provided. So same as sales tax, if it's in the current currency other than ringgit, it must be expressed in ringgit. So you need to convert it into ringgit. Okay. Okay, and on the use of debit note and credit note, so once written form has been submitted, any adjustment to the amount must be made through debit note or credit note. Okay, so sometimes the amount of sales tax or service tax need to be adjusted. Maybe your customer return the goods. Okay, so when customer return the goods, that means there is a reduction in tax payable. So you have to, by the way, from accounting point of view, also you need to issue credit note. Okay, so that credit note will also be used to adjust whatever sales tax or service tax that has been paid, right? So example here, you issue credit note, when there is reduction in tax payable. Okay, for example, there is a return in goods, so you need to reduce the tax payable, so you issue credit note and you note in there how much is the reduction in sales tax. Issue debit note when there is increment in tax payable. Okay, so maybe you need to you uh, the original invoice was wrong. There, let's say there is one missing item. Okay, so you can issue debit note. Okay, refund due to bad debt. This is for sales tax because since sales tax is accounted for on accrual basis, that may arise. Okay, because we have looked just now, sales tax is on accrual basis. That means before you receive the money from customer, you already have to pay the tax amount to the customs. Okay, so indeed, in that case, whenever there is accrual basis, it is possible that you may have bad debt later on. Okay, so you can claim back the sales tax portion on the bad debt amount. Okay, so registered manufacturer can claim refund on sales tax paid in relation to the bad debt. Claim for refund can be made within 6 years from the date of the sales tax is paid, subject to the following conditions. So basically, you are given a period of 6 years to claim to claim for refund for sales tax paid on bad debts. Okay, but subject to the following conditions. Number one, the whole or any part of the sales tax payable has been written off in his accounts as bad debt. Okay, that means in account that has been written off. Okay, because you know, it's kind of like the debt has really turned back. Okay, and all reasonable efforts have been made by him to recover the sales tax. So before you write off in bad debts, before you claim for the refund, you have to show proof that you have taken all reasonable efforts to try to claim to get back the money from the customer. Okay. Basically, this is also true for accounting. Even for accounting, before you can write off a debt, you need to show proof. You have made calls, you have sent letters, you have used the lawyer to try to collect the amount due. If all efforts have been taken, but you still cannot collect the money, or maybe because your customer turned bankrupt, there is no way you can get back the money, okay, then you can claim for refund. That's why you are given 6 years. Okay, 6 years is not just for you to claim, but basically 6 years is for you to do all the reasonable efforts to try to recover that money from your debtors. Okay. Dengar ke bunyi buruh? It's raining here. Okay, next on duty to keep records. Records or books of account shall be preserved for a period of 7 years from the issuance date. I'm in my room, don't worry. Okay, so you have 7 years. This is the same as income tax, right? Income tax also you have to keep for 7 years. So for sales and services tax, also you have to keep for 7 years. Must be maintained in the national language or English language. Okay, this is requirement by the Act. So your records must be in these 2 languages only, not other language. Must be kept in Malaysia unless otherwise approved by the DG. So you need to keep your records inside Malaysia. Okay, don't transfer to Singapore. Do not bring to Australia. Must be kept in Malaysia. Examples of basic records to be kept: invoices, okay, payment receipts. These are all documents that you need if you want to prove that the amount of the tax that you have paid. Okay, invoices, payment receipts, daily, monthly, or yearly sales reports. Okay, this is important for you to show your threshold. Debtors aging list. Okay, especially when you have your bad debt, credit note, debit note, audited financial statement. bank statement, and contractual agreement and progressive reports. Okay, these are examples of the basic records that you need to keep in case of you are being audited. Okay, because sales tax, service tax is similar to income tax, whereby you have to report your own. You have to report your own sales. You have to report your the own services that you make, how much tax that you pay. Okay, so that means auditors will come once in a while to check whether you have record everything as per what is actually happening in your business. Okay, so all these have to be kept properly. Okay, finish. Okay. Okay, so these are basically brief concept of sales and service tax. As I said to you just now, I don't go into detail because I don't want to go into too much detail. The detail is one is complicated, the other one is keep changing. Okay, so any question? Can you upload the recording video? Yeah, of course. The part one just now I have uploaded in the Google Drive. Okay, so the second part I will upload in Google Drive as well. Then I will also give you because I made some changes to the
Doctor?
Yeah. Yes. Who called me just now?
Me, doctor.
What is it?
Doctor,
Yeah.
I want to know, if in case customer is paying. Doctor, sorry.
You want to talk or you want to write?
Right. I will write.
Okay. Sorry. So we have covered all topics, right? I'm confused. If customer paid the tax to the retailer, the retailer need to give the tax imposed to the customer to the government, or retailer will keep it. Okay, now sales tax is charged at the manufacturer level only. Okay. So manufacturer will Let me show you the chart. Okay, so manufacturer will collect money when manufacturers sell to wholesaler. Manufacturer will impose service tax, sales tax. Then manufacturer will give the money to customs. So when they is the manufacturer that have to fill in the SST02, and when they submit SST02, they will have to give the money to customs as well. Okay, they're not going to keep it. Basically, manufacturer act as an agent, collecting agent on behalf of the government.
Oh, I understood now. Okay, thank you, Doctor.
All right. Any other question? Sorry, I don't have a tutorial question to give to you because this topic is still considered as new. Even most um, hmm, I think even ACCA, they're going to start to ask a question on sales tax, service tax, starting this year. So even professional bodies are going to start asking about this year because it's still considered.
Doctor, you mute your mic.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry. I think because of the rain, my internet connection is not so good today. What I want? Where did I stop just now? I don't have tutorial question for you. I'm so sorry. But this topic will come out in final exam. But we will ask very simple question like theory or determine the date or determine the penalty, that kind of thing only. Yeah. Don't worry.
Yay, okay, thank you, Doctor.
Okay. All right. Anything you want to ask about apa nama mengalannya SST before we will discuss about we may want to discuss a bit about midterm exam and also about final exam. Focus on SST first. Anything you want to ask? Okay, easy eh? Okay.
Question easy, Doctor.
Easy for me, no for you. Should be easy lah. Actually, I have not set the question yet because I will need to teach first. Then only I will set the question on this one. Okay, for your midterm next week, we'll start at. Is there any problem if we start at 2? No one will go to Friday prayer, right? Okay. So we will start at 2. I will give you instruction like 1 or 2 days earlier. I don't know whether Dr. Khadijah has explained to you how will the midterm takes place, of which we will release the question in Google Classroom, and then you will be given maybe about 1.5 or 2 hours to answer, and then plus you will have to write your answer on paper and then use scanner app to take picture of your answer, save in PDF and submit in Google Classroom. What did you receive? We received a revision test a few weeks ago. Can we get the solution? Which revision test? Who gave you the revision test? Dr. Khadijah? Or me? Can someone explain what revision test? Oh, from Dr. Hamimah, you asked from her. Okay, ask from her. What was it? Okay, so I don't know whether you have done this kind of exam or not, where you have to snap the picture. and scan through using your phone, and then submit in Google Classroom. Yes, okay, good. So you should have no problem. I don't have the solution because I don't even have the question. Okay, so that will be your midterm next week. For your final exam, I don't know how the university will decide what kind of. I think that one I will get information from Dr. Hamima later. Okay, so for next week, you know you'll have 4 topics. Basis period, industrial building allowance, withholding tax, and also DTA. Okay, so some questions will come from me and Dr. Khadijah. Some questions will come from Dr. Hamima, and I will give the question to her first because all these topics were taught by her. So I will give the questions to Dr. Hamima first so that she can check whether you should be able to answer the questions or not. I don't want to ask something that you have not learned before. Okay, so I will give the question to her first. And also same goes to for final exam. For final exam, what are the topics? RPGT, that one taught by Dr. Khadijah, so no problem. We have investment incentives, okay, pioneer status, and so on. We have this one, sales and service tax. And the last one is on agriculture allowance. Okay, so agriculture allowance, that one is taught by Dr. Hamima. So I will show to her, so that she know whether you can answer or not. Right? Can we have a revision question and answer, Doctor? Question I can give. Answer, I can give you final answer. Which topic? FPGT. For midterm as well. For midterm, okay. All right. I can give you some. Okay. I'll give you a few questions on agriculture allowance I have, industrial building allowance I have. But I cannot give you full set of answer lah. Usually I don't do that. I can give you the final answer, but not the full set of answer. But if you really want the answer, you do first and then you show me. Okay? Okay. Okay, anything else you want to ask, you want to discuss? If you have nothing else, okay, we can end our Zoom session now, and I will put a few questions in the Google Drive for you to do your revision. Okay, I'll give 4 topics related to midterm first because your midterm is next week. Okay, all right. So if there's nothing else, anything else want to say? No. Okay. So we end the session now. And then I will put questions. I will inform in WhatsApp and whenever the question is ready. I will try to compile now. Okay.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Bye.
Bye, Doctor.